Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Neo. In this video, I am working on myself again. I have removed a set that I recently did for Valentine's Day. I will link it in the cards. And on my right hand, I have a set that I recently filmed. I will link that in the card too as well. So as I was showing you, the lengths of my nails are completely different. And as fun as these nails were for Valentine's Day, they were just a little bit too long. I was still able to get things done, but I thought it would just be better to just clip them down just a little bit. They're still, at the end of the day, longer than my right hand, but I think it's fine. You know, I was able to work with them before. I'll definitely be fine now that they're a little shorter. So I just took my straight edge clipper and clipped down like 2.5 times. And because I made the nails shorter, they are still pretty broad because they were tapered square to the length that they were before. So I'm just using my Tammy Taylor peel and stick file to basically taper them in a little bit more for this length. So if you look at my thumb, my middle finger, it's completely like a rectangle. So I'm using the file to kind of make it a little narrower. Oh my gosh, that's a word. So it's not necessarily going to be a coffin, but more of a tapered square. So it's still going to have that square kind of shape, but it won't be completely up and down like a block. So that's what I'm doing here. I really loved that Valentine's set that I had before with the roses and the gold foil. Well, they weren't roses, but they were flowers and gold foil. It was one of my favorite sets that I've done, and I got so many compliments just wearing them around. I really love them, but it had been maybe like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks since I had them, and yeah, I was ready for something else. It's funny now in hindsight, thinking about the set that I'm doing now, because I had all these ideas of how it was going to look, and it ends up looking very similarly to things that I've done before, or just like a very simple set that doesn't have a lot going on. And it just makes me laugh because it's like I clearly have an aesthetic for what I like. Even when I try to do different things, it just happens. So yeah, so if you can tell, the nails are a little bit more narrow, which is what I love. And I showed you a piece of the peel and stick file, and that it has that plastic piece in the middle, and I really love that for shaping because it makes the emery board really stiff, so you don't have to worry about the hand file bending, and you're not getting a really nice straight line. Because it has that plastic piece in the middle, you will always get a straight file as long as you're doing the right thing. So I already went in and prepped off camera, removed any cuticle, buffed my natural nail that had grown out, and then we're prepping like I normally do. I'm going in with my Secret dehydrator primer and then a thin coat of the Protein Bond by Young Nails. As you can see, I'm only applying that by the cuticle area because I do have that layer of clear acrylic down on my nail. So if you can see, I'm only backfilling and I'm only swiping basically that cuticle area because that's all that I have as far as like new growth. I didn't have very much new growth. You know, it was a little less than 2 weeks. But what I'm doing on all of the nails is actually extending a small thin bead of clear acrylic down the length of the entire nail. And this is because I do this for the natural nail, but I think I'm going to start doing this for the entire tip as well, because when I go in to remove the design, because that colored acrylic is on the tip, sometimes I do wear through the tip as well. When I'm e-filing, my bit might be a little bit heavy-handed and I might warp the shape of the tip, or just file down a little too deep on the tip, compromising it. It might snap, I'll have to reapply it. So I just figured this would be a nice thing to do, just taking that clear bead of acrylic all the way down the length of the nail. It's not building up any structure at all. Like if you see my thumb, it is completely flat, so it's a very, very thin bead, but I think it'll help in the future of keeping not only my nail bed safe, but the tip as well, so that I don't have to like file through it or anything like that. I am using actually I went back to an old monomer. I'm using the Secret Monomer. I have a huge container of it. I just saw it in the back of like my little area. And I was like, yeah, we need to use this, but I forgot. It's a really good monomer. People like Secret is one of the first brands that I started using when I first started doing nails, and it's a good one. It's a really, really good system. I'm using the Young Nails Core Clear with this monomer, and it was really nice to have a lot of setting time. I was able to push the acrylic everywhere I needed it before it was setting, so it's nice. I mean, different monomers do different things. Having the variety, sometimes you're fast, sometimes you're slow. On this day I was very slow. Maybe it's because I was watching TV and doing my own nails. So I'm showing you a bottle of soapy water. This is just water and dish soap that I keep around my station for whenever I want to do bubble nails, which is what we're doing today. And all you have to do is shake it up and you get a nice bubbly froth. I'm going in with my Macart base coat, and I'm squeezing out a bit of the foam. I'm placing it on top of that base coat, curing for 60 seconds, and all you have to do is dab away, the bubbles go away, and you're ending up with this beautiful bubble texture. If you have trypophobia, sorry in advance, because it's gonna be real watching this video. But basically, yeah, this is the texture that I'm going for in this video. I wanted it to be like just a soft sheer play on this texture. I am going in on my thumb and my pointer finger, doing half of the nail, so applying a good amount of the base coat, not too much towards the sidewall because you don't want it to be bulky. I'm going to squeeze out the bubbles. You want to make sure that the bubbles are moist and not dry. So like if you have like dry bubbles at the top of your container, just close your bottle or whatever you're using, give it a good shake so that the bubbles are, you know, re-wet with the liquid in the bottom, and then squeeze again. And as you can see, I'm just wrapping the foam around the nail just to make sure that it's fully touching that base coat. And then you don't even need to wipe because it does give you a really rough texture. You just tap, 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 and you end up with that really cool texture on the nail. On my ring finger, I'm going to be doing the entire nail with this texture. In hindsight, I would probably just choose different colors. I think that the set came out really, really pretty, but it was very soft and like, you know, nude. This is what I'm talking about. As you can see, the foam is very, very dry. So all I do is shake it up. Now you have more moist bubbles. You see how it looks more wet? I hate that word, moist. And that's what I'm going to use to add to the ring finger. I have another video where I've done this technique, and this is where I learned that from, of having the moist bubbles versus the dry bubbles. If the bubbles are dry and you put that dry foam on your nail, it will not give you the texture like you think it will. You'll have patches in your texture. So I'm going in with this really nice, I guess, unicorn iridescent pink chrome powder. I got this from Amazon in a set of like 8 or 9, and it's really, really pretty. This is where I would, if I was doing this set over, I would just use a darker color or like a solid chrome instead of it being a iridescent chrome, just because the nails were already sheer and, you know, it didn't have much of an impact. It's pretty in certain lights, but it's not impactful from like far away, which is what I think I was going for. But yeah, because we use, oh sorry, I didn't use a base coat, I used a top coat. So because I use a top coat, the chrome is basically just, you know, being burnished into the top coat. It is a rough texture. If you can see my thumb, how the foam kind of like makes that top coat stick off the nail. It's very, very rough, so you will damage your makeup sponge like I'm doing here, but I don't mind because these are really cheap. And I'm just making sure to cover everything with that pink chrome. And as you can see, it's just a nice light hue of pink on these nails. I just thought it was really, really pretty. It kind of reminds me of like alligator skin. I think this would be really cool texture to do on like a dark brown nail. That might be really cool. So to seal this in, I'm going in with a very, very thin, very wet bead of clear acrylic. You don't want to put base coat or top coat on top of this, especially if you're doing a clear or iridescent kind of color. Maybe if you have two opposite colors, like a blue base and a gold chrome, you can. But if you have lighter colors, if you apply a top coat or a base coat to this, you're basically going to fill in all of the gaps of those bubbles and you will lose your design. I know this because I've done it with the client. She didn't like the final texture, and I was like, all right, let's try and see what happens if we add a top coat. And it basically removed all of the texture. She was like, ooh, no, put it back. So I just know that that's not a good thing to do. So I'm just using a very, very, as you can see, it's a wet bead of clear acrylic just to kind of encapsulate that texture and the chrome at this point. I will be going in and building up later with clear acrylic as well, but this is basically what I want to do just to make sure I encapsulate the bubble and the chrome like we have it. I'm going to be ombreing this really gorgeous color from Sugar and Cream. It is called Eggnog. It's a new one that I've got in a recent haul video. I will link that in the cards for you. And it's one of my faves. It's a nice nail plate nude color. It glows in the dark and it has this beautiful, soft, silvery shimmer to it. So as you can see, I'm applying a small cuticle bead and I'm just ombreing it over the the edge, I guess, of that bubble texture that we did, which is why I didn't go down all the way on all of the nails. I knew I was going to be ombreing this color over it, so my focus is just not to bring that nude color down too far. We don't want to cover up the the bubble texture that we placed already. So just making sure to place it around the cuticle, and then to smooth it out. If I happen to bring it down too far, I just take my brush. You're going to see me do it on my thumb. This is something that I do when I try to ombre to clear. I'm going to swipe away at the tip and then kind of re-ombre it down. You'll see what I'm talking about. So on this thumb, I guess the bead was just a little bit too big. Look at all the time I have to work with this, honestly. That Secret Monomer is pretty cool. So I feel like I brought it down too much. As you can see, I'm swiping away at the bottom, and then I'm just gonna re-ombre it down by patting. So I'm swiping away again. I want to see more of that bubble texture. I don't want to have that nude coming all the way down, and then that's how I just make sure that if I am ombreing to clear, I am not basically covering up the design that I worked really hard for. On my middle finger, we're going to be doing a full nail of this nude color. So it's just a simple application. I am building up for maybe like halfway. I'm going to clear cap anyway, but yeah, nothing crazy. And now that the colors have been laid, it is time to clear cap all of my nails, and I am using, like I said, the Young Nails Core Clear and the Secret Monomer. I'm just making sure to build up for strength, making sure that I place my apex in the correct area. I know that people, do things differently. I like my apex to be more towards the middle of the nail, towards my free edge versus at the cuticle. You do what works for you or what you like aesthetically. Just make sure that you're building a solid nail that has a structure to kind of withstand tapping and banging and like everyday life wear, I guess. Nothing crazy. I'm using a new Pana brush that I got on Amazon. It's a size 14. It's a crimped brush and I've been loving it. When I first got it, it shed for like 2 weeks. It was so annoying, but I'm loving it now. Yeah. So basically I am placing the bead. I'm working drier than I guess normal. And I'm making sure to push the acrylic in towards the middle of the nail, swiping the sides so that I have clean sidewalls. You saw I went in and shaped these nails beforehand, so you don't want to be applying acrylic and then just messing up the shape that you worked really hard for. That's how I kind of maintain my shape, just pushing that product towards the middle of the nail and then cleaning up the cuticle and sidewalls just in case I might flood a little bit. Yeah. Nothing crazy, so you can just check it out. As you can see, I'm always constantly swiping at the sides just to make sure we keep that shape. And I'll show you some side shots of some of the nails so that you can see that my apex is moving towards the center of the nail. So I like for the cuticle area to be fairly thin, and then the product kind of rises and then thins back out towards the tip. That's kind of the shape that you should be going for if you are going to be building a solid structural nail. this is the shot of the nails right after acrylic application. As you can see, it's not perfect, but I do my best to maintain that shape that we worked so hard for in the beginning of the video. And you can kind of see that iridescent, that's the shape that I'm talking about, really, really pretty. You can kind of see that iridescent pink peeping through, but like I said, it's not very impactful from far away. If you get close, you can see the texture and it's like, ooh, this is pretty, but from far away, it just looks like a soft boomer nail with a little something going on. But yep, I decided to use mostly this Tammy Taylor peel and stick file to clean up my sidewalls and maintain that shape. I want to sharpen that free edge and to surface file my nails. So I don't know why, but this file just had me, I don't know, I was feeling this file. It has a plastic piece in the middle. So when you order this file system, I guess you get a plastic pink, I guess maybe it comes in other colors, but a plastic piece of plastic and it comes with a set of these sticky emery boards, and you have the option of putting it on one side or on both sides. I'm using the 100 grit. I think it comes in different grits as well, and you can buy like a 25 pack or a 10 pack or anything like that. And it's really great because for hygiene you can just remove the sticky file for every new client. I mostly use this on myself. I have disposable files that I use on clients, but I really love it just because it's so stiff. That plastic piece in the middle really helps. Normally when I'm doing that vertical, vertical like perpendicular filing that you see me do on the tip of my nail, the regular files that I use kind of bend a little bit as you're working on the nail. So sometimes you don't get a really solid straight file, but I know with this file it is not moving, it is not, you know, dipping a little bit to one side. And as you can see, I'm getting very, very crisp filing with this hand file, so I'm really, really loving it. I've had it for a while. I don't know why I don't use it as much, but yeah, it's really, really great. I don't have to worry about the file moving and me not getting a perfect shape. As you can see, that the pointer looks really great as far as the apex. Yep, so I'm just making sure to clean that shape up. I want a tapered square, not necessarily a coffin, and then making sure that that free edge is sharpity sharp sharp. So because I had a little bit of texture on the nail after hand filing, I just made sure that I went in with an extra 2X, so an extra fine narrow carbide bit that I got from Pana. So it's narrow, you can see like it's a smaller diameter in the tube, and it's extra fine. When I say this thing is so smooth, it doesn't even feel like it's doing anything, but it basically is there to smooth the nail. It is not a safety, so you do have to be careful if you're using it at higher speeds. You might nick yourself or a client. But basically I'm just using it to smooth the surface of the nail. There's no way you are debulking with this kind of bit because it is an extra fine. The teeth on it is so minimal. So I'm just using it to smooth the surface of my nail and to clean up the cuticle and sidewall areas. Nothing crazy. And here we are. The shape is looking beautiful and lovely. We're snapping for magic. And as you can see that pink soft, you know, touch to the nail, but they are fairly simple and nude. So from far away, you really can't tell what's happening, but up close, it's really, really gorgeous. So I am going to be blinging out these nails, just 2 of them. As you can see, I've already come up with my nail designs. This is something that I like to do just because when I get my nail bling container out, I am so overwhelmed and don't know what to do. So it's great for me to take like 5 minutes to come up with a design in advance, also so that I don't have like a crap ton of containers everywhere. I store my bling in these small circle containers that fit into this large circle tray. I will link that in the cards, not in the cards, down below, just so you can see that as well. And to have all of those things, containers of rhinestones all over the place, kind of freaks me out. So it's better for me to kind of build up the design beforehand. As you can see in the container down on the table, it's out of focus, but you can see I've already come up with the design that I want. So I'm basically just copying it from there. It might change. It definitely changes in this video. I add a little bit more, but at least I have a general idea of what I want, and I can show the client before slapping it on their nails, and they might say, no, I'm not feeling that. So yep, the start of this set is actually this piece. I got this from AliExpress maybe a few months ago, and it's a gold resin piece, but it has crystal AB and crystal rhinestones in it. So I am playing with the colors of the set. We have some nice baby pink Swarovski rhinestones. We have crystal AB. I'm using gold and silver charms. I love the mixed metal look for sets like this. And we are going crazy on this nail, as you can see. I mean, it wasn't the intention. Honestly, I was planning on just slapping that large piece on the nail and calling it a day, but like, you can't just do that. I'm using my Zule Bling Adhesive, so I have not top coated any of these nails. I'm making sure to not get the adhesive on any of the other items, but laying down a good amount of it so that the gem kind of sinks into that resin. You don't want them to lift up and fall off pretty much. So at this point, I was just kind of like, it looks a little narrow in the middle, so we're just adding more bling towards the side of the nails. And then I'm going to add even more because I didn't like all of that empty space in the middle of the nail. But as you can see, I'm just taking my time, not applying too much of the glue, because sometimes it does dry before you get to a specific area, and then you've got like a dollop of glue on your nail. So just take your time, nothing crazy. And I'm using a rhinestone picker that I recently got from Amazon, and I'm loving it. I used to use, I still do, but I used to mainly use those wax pencils that kind of come with sets. But I realized that this is the way. It's a wax picker. It's kind of like a crystal katana, like a bougie version. Not a bougie, like a bootleg version. I got it on Amazon. It came 3 in a set. It was uber cheap, and I love it. So here we go. That's what the nail bling is looking like, and you can see that gorgeous bubble texture underneath the clear. It's going to come to life with this glossy top coat. So this is the same Macart glossy top coat. I've been using this a lot recently. I have a lot of them just because I have a lot of those little poly gel sets, but also it's a really, really good glossy top coat, guys. Like, I mean, if you're gonna get those poly gel sets, use this top coat. It's really, really good and affordable. You can get it on Amazon. It will be linked below. And I am basically adding glossy top coat to all of the nails on the top and bottom. For the nails with the bling, I'm going to do my best. I know on my pointer finger I go over some of the bling as well, but I'm going to do my best to not cover any of the bling or rhinestones or charms with this glossy top coat. You don't want to do that because it does dull down the shine, and it removes some of the facets on your rhinestones, and you don't get the full reflection. You'll get like a bubble warp kind of gem, which is defeating the purpose because we want them to sparkle. So I'm just making sure to be careful around those pieces, get that cuticle area underneath that glossy top coat, cleaned up my sidewalls and my free edge, and I'm going to cure for a full 60 seconds. And because these tips were clear and the effect we added was basically clear, I'm adding some glossy top coat to the bottom of my nails as well, so that we can see all the way through and really get that bubble texture appearance, I guess. I wanted it to just be a clear tip with those bubbles kind of floating in. This is what the set looks like in person. One thing is that I don't like that I can see my free edge on that natural nail with the full bubbles. This is also a glow in the dark, so here's a shot of eggnog glowing in the dark. Sugar and cream has great glow in the dark colors. I hope you liked this video. This set came out nice. I'm happy to have something new and a little bit shorter. Like if you like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.